Welcome back to the channel, people. Bit of a different video today, and it's very sort of Renault Master, Vauxhall Movano specific, but I didn't find much out when I was looking on YouTube for this particular problem, so I thought I'd throw it out there just for those Master Movano guys, and maybe it'll help them out. Having made it home successfully without any problems, I've got my scanner out. I've got an iCarsoft Euro Pro, which is kind of two-way, fairly basic, but £140 does the job. Reads these Renaults. Came up with code DF569, which is basically says turbo pressure too low. Now, I had a good trawl around on the web. Didn't really find that much on it other than confirming it was a Renault code, mostly with Megans and things like that, but not necessarily related to the Masters. However, I asked the question in a Facebook Masters owners group, and there was various suggestions, and somebody come up with the possible suggestion, which I think has been the solution. So I thought I'd try and save you guys from, if you do happen to get this one, I think it's a bit of a less common one, but it will take you hopefully straight to the problem. Now, when looking up the code in a bit more detail, it's basically saying that the turbo pressure was too low. Like I said, the van seemed to drive fine. It hadn't gone like limp mode where it would barely move or anything like that. So I figured, oh, it's probably a boost leak or something like that, which, you know, a split pipe, this age of van is 12 years old now, so it's not unheard of for things like that to happen. So it did indeed do those checks. When that came back negative, like I said, I reached out to some of the owners groups and stuff on Facebook, and they basically came up and said, well, try replacing your boost sensor, which is this little fella here. See if I can go all the way around it. Now, I'm not one usually for sort of parts bingo when it comes to replacing bits and pieces on a van when you've got a trouble code like that, because it could be anything. It could be wiring, could be, like I said, a boost leak, a split hose, all number of possible things that it could be. However, this part's pretty readily available and cheap. It's about £20, so I bought it and changed it, and I'll show you. So on the Master, or the Movano, the little chap sits here on this bracket. It's on a little rubber mount. You pull it up, there's an electrical connection and two vacuum lines that go to the bottom of it. So it couldn't be simpler to change. Here's the, it's up the right way. This is my original one. So I thought I'd go for it and change it over. So literally 10 minutes later, that's changed over, and I went back to the van and reset the codes. Now, as I said, changing that sensor couldn't be simpler. It was literally 10-minute job. And I think you could get that code up with any sort of OBD scanner, even the sort of cheaper ones. I think it would show that code up. I'm not sure if that's a Renault particular code. It didn't give it like a P code, like a OBD code. I might try and find that. If I find that, I'll put that on the title of the video in the description. But in essence, I came back after changing that and did another scan and a reset of the codes, and then I'd driven around for a week and done a few hundred miles, and the error hasn't come back, so I think it's fixed it in my case. I did discover though that after the first time of resetting it, I was able to get the code to produce again by doing certain things. What I mean by that is, if you're entering into a sort of, you know, a long sort of steep gradient hill, where perhaps I would have changed down into fifth gear from sixth, just because I know that it was going to need more engine power to pull up there. I'd left it in a bit six longer, and not really labouring the engine, but just kind of putting it under a bit more load than perhaps normal. And then I was able to reliably re-trigger that code. So I'm assuming, because changing the valve, the pressure sensor, sorry, has fixed the problem. I would imagine that it's just the readings have just come out of whack slightly, or just come out of parameters, and in those low engine speed, high load conditions, it dropped below the sensor parameter. So I've changed it, and all good so far. I will update you, of course, if that changes, but I thought I'd throw this out there because it's not that common for this type of van, and I couldn't find anything else on YouTube, so I thought I'd put it up here. Why not? So that's it really. Just like I said, it's just to help out the community really. People with these vans, we need all the help we can get when we get check emissions, check injection lights come on. But anyway, thanks for watching the video. I'll see you next time.